Hey, and welcome. Or really, it's what up though for this video. Let me turn my music off. Even though I am recording a little bit differently, you guys, I want to encourage you to please, please, please do all the things. Like the video, leave a comment in the comment section, share with your friends because sharing is caring. Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications because what do I say between me and YouTube? You just never know. Hopefully, my internet cooperates. We are here with something new. Now, your girl, even though I've been giving you those reality TV lives, I kind of been getting worn out from reality TV, and I've been looking for a good scripted show. And oh my goodness, we actually have one on all places on BET Plus, which sometimes is kind of hit or miss over there. So I was pleasantly surprised. It is titled Diarra from Detroit. I am going to try to recap, review, break down season one, hopefully episodes 1 through 3. I do have a bunch of notes. I want to kind of try and go for the most part off the top of my head and then reference the notes to make sure I didn't leave out anything. Now, this show is giving me those insecure vibes. And I know y'all be looking at me kind of sideways when I say that, but it's like a dramedy. We have drama, it's like a thriller with solving a mystery. And we also have that comedy aspect. So it's kind of like insecure meets like, Dora the Explorer, Inspector Gadget. No, but seriously, like a really good thriller crime show. Really, really am loving this. Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised, and I am anxiously waiting for the next week. So the lead character, Diarra, is played by Diarra Kilpatrick, who I think is also a writer on this show. I think it's 8 episodes in total, but don't, quote me on that one. I think it is based on the run of Average Joe, because it's gonna kind of give us those vibes. Never got to watching that, but that was on my list and I've heard good things. So hopefully you've watched it. So now we see Deontay. He is a missing kid on the TV. We see some bloody footprints. And I'm like, who is that in the chair? Now I'm guessing we're going to find that later on in this season. And we hear somebody say that I never should have gone looking for that boy. And they are basically climbing out of the window and she's walking over to a locked door and she opens it, but we don't see what's in there. That's our lead character, Diarra. So that's how we start. And the next thing you know, we get her waking up in the middle of the night because one of the main themes for this at the very beginning is she has insomnia. So she has a hard time sleeping. Um, she is recently divorcing. Her ex is played by no other than Morris Chestnut. Oh, you know what? Let me put a little add this to the let's add this also to the stage for the good people. So Diarra is here in the middle. We see Morris to the side, and we got her friend T on the other side, and we'll get to know all of these different characters throughout the season. So now she's being woke up in the middle of the night because, like I said, she's going through this divorce with Morris Chestnut's character. So she's moved back to her mom's home. She wakes up to a break-in in the middle of the night. It's Danger Johnson. Baby, not the person who broke into your house. Now, he didn't know her mom still owned the house because Detroit, I guess, is giving gentrification. And her mom is currently a snowbird down in Florida. So he has his stepson with him. He's telling him he's got to case the joint better. So they sit down and they have a conversation. And that's actually when we find out she's going through a divorce. He asked her how she felt about open marriage, and she moved out and hasn't heard from him in 3 months. So they had showed us a little scene, I think, at the very beginning of her peeking in like one of his old haunts with his new boo thing. Kind of got her messed up. So, as they're sitting at the table, because she offers them like some cake or something. So they're sitting at the table having this conversation. He takes a look around and it's looking a little crazy. It's looking a little twisted. It comes up later. And he basically tells her to go to the therapist. And she's like, the therapist ain't doing such a great job if you still breaking in. But he says sister still wants to get paid. So she is a teacher at an inner city school, and it's very, very rough. she's talking to her friend T at an assembly, very, very delusional about this whole breakup situation, right? So she ends up breaking up a fight later, and we find out when she goes to the principal's office because she gets punched in the face that they call her Captain Extra, and she's basically telling her, next time, baby doll, call security. So on her way home, or actually, I think she's arrived home. She's, sometimes when you at work and you're in a mood, you just gotta listen to your music. It be loud, it be a little aggressive, it be kind of cussing going on. So her childhood frenemy, as she calls her Moni, is like, ma'am, can you turn the music down? So we find out that Danger, who just broke in, is telling everybody that she moved back into her mama's house because she was living high on the hog with her ex, and that she is keeping it dirty as hell. Well, ma'am, she don't appreciate none of that. So later on, she decides to go to Danger's house with her TJ Maxx statue. And she's like, you broke in, you scared the shit out of me, and I was calm. But what you won't do, what you're not gonna do, is talk ish about me to my childhood frenemy. And child, she hits him with the good old Will Smith, like, keep my name out your fucking mouth, okay? And she smashes his fish tank. Everybody's standing around looking, and she's like, somebody get these damn fish up off the floor. I said, it's definitely giving you that comedic element. So I don't want to get into, I'm going to give you as much detail as I can, but not, too much, because there's 3 episodes and I want to kind of get into everything that I can. So she's saying, she doesn't take ish lying down. And then finally she goes off to Tinder where she matches with this guy named Chris. She goes out on this date. She kind of just wants to really be seen out so it can get back to her ex. And I was like, oh, girl, but she actually ends up liking what she sees. So when he first sits down, she's hitting him with all the questions like, when have you had an HIV test? How many kids do you have? What's your sign? How much money you got? Where you working? Like, I mean, homegirl is acting like she's on a speed date. So where do we leave off? Hold on one moment. My apologies, guys. I may have to pause throughout this video. Sometimes this is why I prefer to do a pre-recorded so I can edit it, make sure it looks a little more crisp and clean, but we're just going to go with it. So he finally somehow, some way gets her to like relax just a little bit. And she really does like what he has to say. And they decide to pretend to make this date 3 instead of date 1. And then they're just talking. And then later on, baby, they go back to her place. Okay. And they get on down to the business. Okay. And she dubs him the next day in her phone as Ambien because he put that ass to sleep. Okay. And she had been saying she had insomnia. So this was a good thing. Trust me. I know. Okay. You need a little. All right. To get some good sleep. So now she's going and telling Aja, who happens to be her ex's cousin, that she is really, really in strong like with him and that they have another date planned. It's supposed to be dinner and a movie. And I'm just suggesting she focuses on her because that's usually what you're supposed to do after a breakup. But our girl Diarra is not about to do that. So she's waiting on Ambien, aka Chris, and he's a no-show. So she starts texting him CP time, and then she texts and she texts and she texts. I mean, ninja what? I was like, ooh, girl, once you hitting all of that, he probably ain't gonna call you back. He's probably not gonna answer. And speaking of calling, she starts to call and she calls, but the mailbox is full. She cannot leave a message. So over at school, she's telling her homeboy T that, what had happened was, and between him and a little girl's hair that she's doing, they surmise that she's been ghosted. She does not want to take it as such, and she cannot just let it go. Say where he lived. So she takes T and Aja. They go to this restaurant across the street. It's in a little bit of a seedy neighborhood. And they enjoying the fried chicken because a good piece of fried chicken. So she's telling them that maybe something happened to him. And they say that you are giving delusional white lady vibes. I said, oh, no, no. But she insists that there has to be a reason why he ghosted her. And then she brings up that there was like a vagrant following them. And then she starts to like go down that rabbit hole. We trying to figure out, is it a sexy vagrant? It was just the comedy in this, the comedy, the cinematography, the wardrobe, the cast. Like I said, definitely go check it out. If you haven't seen it and you just want a little preview, I will put in the title that this is spoilers, um, so that you guys are well aware. So they basically telling her, Sheila, you're in denial. Um, what she was supposed to do is date, face what she had going on in her life, which was her divorce, and move on with it. But instead, she has landed into this fantasy land. So she's kind of like, it hurts because after 5 years, she wasn't enough for Swa. And after 5 minutes, she wasn't enough for Chris. And I was like, oh, baby girl, when we get hit in those feelings, but it's never about you. It's always about them. That's why it's good to keep that self-esteem, on deck. So she ends up crying on Moni's shoulder about it later, and she thinks that all she needs is an apology. So she takes Moni with her that night to go to Chris's place, and somebody ends up watching them. Like, you can see somebody in a car watching them. So she goes into his place. It's dark. Moni's like, I'm gonna wait outside. I got the brass knuckles, I got the pepper spray, I got whatever you need, girl. I got your back. But she, much like a delusional white lady, goes in there by herself because she hears a noise. She's calling for Chris. Chris, no, boo, no, no, no. She opens the closet and finds a naked, we find out, Russian man tied up, y'all. Okay, marinate on that for a minute. Are you done marinating? Because this is only episode 1. So she's asking who he is. He's speaking Russian. He's not answering. She ends up cutting him out. And they start to tussle because he's trying to run with this bag. So before he leaves, he gets the bag. She don't get the bag, but he drops a dog tag, which is clue number 1. So when she gets home, she's worried that she's been followed, but lo and behold, it is the process server coming to serve her divorce papers. Shout out to Usher. So she's trying to clean up and she's trying to move on. Whole time in her head, she's trying to put the pieces together. So she finds out when she goes back into school. This is that she's trying to, get her life together. That the little boy that ended up punching her in the face, that he had a fight because he had a crush on the girl whose hair she's been braiding because her mom was locked up. She's really getting involved with the kids, and I love to see it. Her mom was locked up, so she's been braiding her hair. She kind of reaches out to her, but he had a crush and somebody said something he didn't like about his boo. So she's basically telling him, listen, stop fighting until you get some karate lessons. And I said, okay, super teacher. So a few days later, she's at the post office. She's trying to move on with her life, but she sees a missing poster. And lo and behold, it is Deontay Brooks Jr., the boy from the TV, aka Chris, aka Ambien. Okay? Follow me. I wish I had some dun 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 dun. We hear a man in the background saying, minding your business is a full-time job and y'all all need to stay employed. Now, she says that's what she should have done. Hindsight is 2020, but her detective journey continues. And then at the end of the episode, we see Chris texting her when he gets punched and scooped up and thrown in the van, leaving his Jordan on the sidewalk. Y'all, I really think, because I'm already at like 14 minutes, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to cut any of this down or not. And I have 2 more episodes to go, but I think going forward it will be a episode by episode, kind of like Average Joe was. So going forward, your girl is probably gonna do some live so we can get in here and talk about it. But let us move on to what happened in episode. So one thing that they're gonna do on this show is they're gonna give us flashbacks to get us to where we need to be. So we see the Russian, and he's sitting in Chris's apartment, and he's setting up his artillery. He's got the tats all over the table. And then eventually the thing is, as we're moving through, we see he's completely naked, like butt booty naked. Homeboy goes eat some cereal or something. He's bouncing a ball on the wall. Like, he's waiting and waiting and waiting. We don't really know why he's here. I mean, we could kind of imagine with the artillery sitting on the table, what he's there to do, but we don't know why. Even I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, by the time we get to episode 3, we don't know that. So now he's meditating when somebody comes in, it's a black dude. He climbs in the window and they get to tussling. It's hella funny, it's a hella awkward, but he finally gets the guy down, ties him up in the closet. It's a black dude named Tank, goes back on out. This is when Diarra comes knocking on the door. She comes knocking on the door, Chris. So he goes on out and tells whoever's in the car that somebody is watching them. So now she's on the case and she's interviewing Chris's neighbors. I don't really think she gets too much. 3 days straight, she says she does this. So then, lo and behold, she finds a Jordan on the curb. And as we know, and as she says, black people don't just leave no one Jordan lying around. So what are we at? She says it's one, but to me, this is clue number 2. Now, I guess it's 1 as it pertains to Chris, and the first one was really more pertaining to the Russian, but we got to find a Russian to figure out what happened to Chris. We get a quick scene of Moni and her husband getting it on, and I said, not them getting off to talking about cleaning up the house, child, I guess. So Diarra goes to the police because she want to file a missing police report. You remember that boy that's missing? I mean, I found him, but now he's missing. I mean, he's my boyfriend, but he's not really my boyfriend. So she's breaking all this down to the police. The police is like, so basically he goes to like, maybe you want to go on eHarmony and not Tinder, but my girl is serious. She's like, are you taking notes? You're not offering me a drink. You're not offering me nothing. So she's like, we got to find a Russian to get to the bottom of it. He calling it a Frenchman. And so she's like, I'm not going anywhere until I get justice. Next thing we know, they escort her mama out the police station. She knocking shit over. And then the one guy's like, I got it. Lo and behold, it's Swa's brother. Because obviously they rose deep in the D. She got the cousin that she's chilling with. The brother, works at the police as a police officer. And he's offering his family advice because he thinks, it has something to do with her divorce. But she's like, tell your brother I moved on. I'm seeing somebody. Okay, girl. But when she leaves out, we see there's a lady cop over there, her desk, and she kind of reaches down and gets her little personal cell phone, burner phone, and she calls somebody. And we don't see who that is. And that's what I really want to know. That's why I want to do a live next time so I can engage with you guys. So you guys can let me know what you think. Now, in this video, feel free to get down in the comment section and let me know what questions you have and what answers that you might just have for your girl. So Diarra is, again, whole 3 episodes trying to make heads of tails of everything that's going on. So she's trying to figure out this symbol on a dog tag that the guy dropped. I think I mentioned that already, but if I didn't, he got the bag, but he dropped the dog tag and she got it. So she's asking the history teacher, and he's like, I don't really know. It looks like it's ancient European, Greek, pagan. It's probably from the Hellenistic period. And then he pops her on the behind, and she's like, what was that for? He's like, I heard you were single, but we're really gonna find out why he popped her on the behind just a little bit later. In the midst of this all going on, Swa comes by the school because she heard that he was looking for him, because apparently Swa is short for Francois, which means Frenchman, and the police officer that was saying a Frenchman when really she was looking for a Russian. And she's like, this don't have nothing to do with you, baby. But he wants her to, again, shout out to Usher, to sign them papers. But he's persistent in their conversation that he was not cheating on her in their marriage. He was just looking, he brought up the whole threesome situation because he was looking on ways to repair, I'm going to say, their broken marriage. So Diarra, on the mission to find that Russian. But Aja, who is not Chris's, Swa's cousin, says enough is enough. They're at her place, Diarra's place that is, and she decides to throw her a divorce party with the ladies from her women's group. Child, she's like, this is it's an intervention, if you will. And I was like, ooh, girl, it was a bunch of laughs had through all of that. So Moni, when she gets home, she's annoyed, like, you having something during the week. Ninjas is parked on my side of the street. So as they're having this kumbaya session, Well, before they get to the kumbaya session, Moni comes over and puts herself in the middle, like, y'all got in the yak, like you ain't even invite me while you're, what did Diarra call it? Not celebrating her divorce. I forgot what her words were. So they start to have a kumbaya session, and they're talking about all things women. They're talking about, MJB and MJB type of vibes, and all the things that we be going through with the men's assistants. So we find out Moni says, I know my husband has a little secret, and when he's ready to tell me, he will. The ladies laugh her all the way under the table. So that puts a little something in her head. But then Asia decides she wants to put Diarra on blast that she's playing Blues Clues and trying to solve a cold case. So she manages, after they clown her, to sneak away. T comes and scoops her up. He's going to be her getaway driver. She needs to know what this symbol is so she can find a Russian. Now, she was looking it up and it started reading, hey, Google, and it starts reading the stuff on. She's trying to turn the speaker off. It's related to BDSM. So she starts calling the sex shops in the areas, and she finds out that there is a party going on that they're shutting down early for us. So her and T pull up. She got one tag, so it's one entry. You got to go over General Pop. She goes on in. Now Moni, on the other hand, while Diarra is going over here playing Blues Clues, she's playing a little Dora Explorer of her own. So she goes over to the husband's shop to give her man a plate, mumbling under her breath, talking about Bees is jealous, to find that they are wrapped up in debt with the Woodward boys to the tune of $50,000. Now he tells her this later, but we try to condense it, put the story together. But honestly, when I saw the scene and he was bent out in that car, I promise you, I was like, is he giving somebody sloppy toppy? But now, based upon what they said, perhaps he was giving us a little BMF and he was hiding the product in the vehicle. So Diarra, she gets into this BDMS party. She locates the Russians, where he gets her to agree to have a Molly, which I was like, ooh, girl, no. So this is her second divorce party, y'all. So they're talking a lot. He's talking, she's touching herself. He's talking about his divorce. She's talking about her divorce. They're talking about her partners, but she wants to know there's a burner phone that's sitting there and it's ringing on an unknown. She wants to know who's calling this man on this burner phone. So then finally she kind of pulls herself together out of this haze and tells him he's full of ish. She's like, you're dressed nicely and you got this burner phone. And she's like, who the F are you talking to? So he grabs her up by her arm and she's like, ooh, ow, you could tell it hurt. So he's like, he puts that thing up to her. And he wants to know who you are working for and where is Deontay. So homegirl, mind you, is already hot as a cloud. And she's like, ooh, I am getting somewhere. Okay. She really is getting somewhere. So we hear a shot. We get worried it's her, but it's somebody got like a studded Kanye mask on, pops him. He's down. She gets out of there, hops in the car with T and the dude he was talking to, and baby, she got the bloody phone with her, okay, but it's giving PTSD. Russian have, like I was saying, the Russian had wanted to know who she was working for, but now he is gone. We got to figure out who he was working for. I think later on in episode 3, when T was looking at the paper, we find out that he was a hitman. He definitely was a Russian. We don't really know much about it, but at the end of episode 2, we see a flashback to when Deontay goes missing. Vonda, his mom, is speaking, to the police. And we hear the video saying that this woman waited 23 minutes to report her son missing. So that's giving us wow vibes. So you know what that means. That Miss Vonda is going to be a suspect, if you will, as we move on to episode 3. Now, in episode 3, as I had mentioned in episode 2, at the very, very end, Diarra is going through some PTSD. So she's just kind of going through the motions. We see her at school conference for a parent. It's hard for her to focus and pay attention. She's just like, they're calling her name. She don't know what's going on. And the part that got me is she's in the shower and she's crying, and you could kind of see her like dodging the shower because she's down on the floor like she's taking a bath, but the shower's on, and she's like, you can't even take a trauma shower without worrying about your hair getting wet. I said, see, girl, that's why That's why we gotta go the natural route. So she starts going through this burner. There's pictures of Chris on the burner, and there's one number. She calls the number back, and it's a piece of place, y'all. So we gotta knocking on the door, and it's Danger. He's still mad about his fish, but he's come to return her TJ Maxx Tribal Collection statue. So he's like, it's three things my mama taught me. The third thing was how to make some silver dollar pancakes. So he makes some silver dollar pancakes, and he's gonna be forever her therapist. Okay, he is the hood therapist, if you will. So they talk about her seeing somebody get popped. Like I said, PTSD. He's offering her, a little hood patch for her trauma. She don't really want to take it, but he was like, I need you to picture a safe space. So she's trying to picture a safe space, but all she's getting is flashbacks and she's struggling to find one. She's like, I don't think I ever had one. So the burner phone rings and she throws him on out. So she answers the phone with some Russian gibberish. She's like, check off. I said, and it turns out that it's Vonda Brooks. Okay. That's Deontay's mother. We already, to her is suspect number one. But we find out from T that Aja's having a brunch and she got to scoot her ass on over there before she gets in trouble. She gets there. Moni catches her on the way in. So she wants to work with her because now that she knows the husband is in debt, she wants to collect this reward money. So they go on into this little brunch, little shindig, but they really want to get out. So as they're trying to tip on out because she finds out, she's made all of these plans for her birthday. She plans a birthday month, and I'm for it, okay? But it's very, very expensive. And the lady's going through a divorce. And when Swaj showed up at the school, she was like, you're not gonna pay my Amex bill. So it's about to get real rough for sister girl. So they're trying to tip on out because speaking of Swaj, she told her, like, listen, I invited him. He's about to come through. So they go outside and they're talking, and who's pulling up? Like, she thought she was gonna avoid them, but who is it? Is Swat in her safe space. So he pulls up, she's looking, all starry-eyed, heart eyes, and who he gets out and lets his new lady out the car. She calling the lady um I think they call her a hoe. And he's like, she's a lawyer. She's like, okay, so she's a well-educated, high price hoe. So as the lady's about to go, and she's like, I just want to let you know that we weren't together. I didn't get with him basically until you guys were separated. Don't you love how they like to tell you that? You'd be like, The fact that you're telling me that makes me feel like you just may be on some BS. So she complaining how actually, I think he physically put 50K into the car, but she ended up leaving. He was like, this is what happens when you leave things. You leave things you don't want, so now it's mine. Child. So now, they want to talk to Vonda because they really want to get Vonda's phone. Moni says she has a source. So they go and get on the bus, and we go and talk to Moni's source, which is the professor. He's played by, oh my God, is it Good Times? Is it Roger? I can't remember. I'm probably mixing my shows, mixing my people. But when I seen his face, you know what? Pause for the cause. I'm a go on my phone and look at it. All right. Okay. I had to go look. It is from What's Happening. It is Roger. He is the professor. He don't have no formal trading. She's offering an orange in exchange for some information. So they asking, what about Deontay Brooks? And he says he was sold to a secret super ninja. A secret super ninja soldier program to pay off the debt that his mama accrued for losing a drug shipment. I'm like, well, because they was talking about the Illuminati, the CIA. They was bringing all things that should have not been brought into it. And I was like, yeah, you know what? That's one of those things, conspiracy theories, is truth in it, but not. So they're calling him the Jason Bourne of Uganda. So they're like, okay, so where's Vonda? Vonda's in Mexican town. She is at this church using the church as a front for her drug stuff. Diarra don't believe any of this, but they don't have anywhere else to go. There's no more Blues Clues to be found, okay, in the handy dandy notebook. So they go on over to the church, and lo and behold, coming out the back, it's Vonda. Moni decides to roll up on Miss Vonda. Miss Vonda pulled that thing out like, hold up, wait a minute. So she ends up getting them to get into this shady van with no seats in the back. I mean, getting thrown all over. Whole time they going on whatever adventure with her. Ma'am has hella burner phones. I mean, hella burner phones. It's giving very much drug dealer. It's for me. You know, I was starting to believe what the old man on the bus had to say. So she's hitting corners, knocking these ladies to and fro. So at one of her errands, because she's, that somebody comes and gives her a box. She's talking about crack on the phone. She get exchanging envelopes. She stopped there someplace else. She got to get a big back TV. I mean, it's Erin City. So they find, because she got the bloody phone. So they find the phone, like hella phones in there. When the lady opens the back of the van, she's thinking that they are true crime podcasters. Now, on a little side tangent, Asia is over with T trying to get backing for her upcoming business venture. That all works out for her. Okay, that's all we need to say for her. That all works out for her. But Vonda sets up a crackhead trap that nobody's seen before and tells them that she has F all the members of the Temptations. I said, ma'am, how did we get here? Did I mention that Vonda was played by none other than Felicia Rashad? Okay, sis. So they're like, Miss Vonda, it's been several different, lineups of the Temptations. Like, how many bodies we talking? She's like, nah, baby, we talking about the OGs. Eddie was good with his hands, Paul with his mouth, and Melvin with his feet. I said, Miss Vonda, you play all day. So they was hooting it up because they on a little bitty of stakeout. So it turns out that there's a 15-year-old girl who relapsed, and her parents have tasked Miss Vonda to go bring her home. So Miss Vonda is rescuing the children, okay? So she takes the ladies with her. Moni ain't with it. So she's outside on the outside duty. She got to set off the fireworks, because turns out when they scoping it out, baby girl's not on the first floor. She's on the second floor, this trap house. So it's going to be a little more difficult than they. But Miss Vonda is prepared for everything. She gives somebody a bag of food. They going up the stairs. Now she got, she gives Diarra the bat, because Diarra is supposed to be Batman. So the man comes up and says, when I own her, you're not going nowhere with her. And, Diarra, she playing crazy with this bat, but she don't really hit nothing. And then, Miss Vonda knocked the man over the head. They get baby girl to her mama. They sit in the diner. Now they're going to get their interview with Miss Vonda, because she thinks that they're podcasters. So Diarra's asking her, has anybody contacted you about Deontay? So she's like, lately. And she's like, a Russian journalist was saying that Deontay was back in town and asking if I've seen him. And she's like, have you? She's like, I've seen him every day for the last, umpteen years. So she asked her the burning question that she wants to know. Why wait 23 minutes to report him? So she says, listen, only reason I was in the mall that day, I went to go cop that Mary J. Blige album. Your girl was exhausted. I had a coupon for some snacks. This kid, who was always all over the place, he was hiding things. She just, mama's doing what mama does. So she wanted to teach him a lesson. So she was sitting on the bench, and she could see the little boy over there on the little merry-go-round, them little car things that you putting a change in the mall, getting all your money for the kids just to be on for a few seconds. And she said she took her eye off of him for a second, because the OJ verdict was announced, and then when she turned back, he was gone. Now, everybody remembers I was in high school when they announced the OJ verdict at a very white, very Catholic school. It was a whole different experience, okay? I had my little black fist up in the background, but everybody remembers where they were at the time of the OJ trial. So that happened. Very much so, and that distracted her. It only takes 1 second. As a parent, that is the most, luckily my kids are still in my possession, but that's the most scariest part of life. So she goes running, look for him, and she goes out the doors of the mall. We see his ball on the ground, and we see a green Impala pulling off, but she's like, she knew the police wouldn't want to hear none of that. And they're asking why she was a suspect. Well, the dad was working a double shift at the plant, so he was off the hook. That left her as the main suspect, because she was with the boy and she didn't have anything else to say. So the dad blamed her, later drank himself to death. And so Diarra surmises, like, this is not a woman who sold her son. They let her go. Now, with something up with Miss Vonda, I don't think Miss Vonda is all the way in the clear. You get down in the comments and let me know what you think, but I don't think that she had anything to do with her son going missing, let alone being sold. So we decide that we're going to take it back to Chris's place and put all these, into use, because Miss Diarra gets visions. So she's thinking of the mom saying, he always left something hidden. So the lady, Moni's like, he only have nothing. He don't have no silverware. She's thinking back to the date where he said, he's a professional at ordering. So Blues Clues, Inspector Gadget, Dora the Explorer, whatever you want to call it. She opens the oven door. There's a box. She pulls the box out. There is a Ninja Turtle backpack with the name Deontay written on it. And they are just, celebrating. We're going to find him. We're going to find him. We're going to find him. But, they got to do one more thing. She want to get her soft space. So she goes on over. She got SWAT schedule. She goes on over. Moni runs interference. They get the car, they riding off. We got some DMX playing, but somebody is watching them. It's like a white guy with glasses. Somebody is watching them, and he actually has pictures. So I'll tell you, when I say I binged the 3 episodes, I binged the 3 episodes. I was so impressed. Like I said, I am impatiently waiting. It's definitely giving you comedy, but it's definitely giving you thriller. You want to know who done it, why, who, what, where, when, and why, all the things. Okay, cannot be denied. So yeah, I'm gonna come back. I can't tell you when. I think it's Thursdays it airs. Um, so I will try to come back. Maybe I'll put this in my Sunday spot where Love is Blind was, and come to you with some live recap so we can talk over the thing and you guys let me know how you feel about Diarra from Detroit. I am really liking this one, you guys. As I've said before, like, comment, share, subscribe to the video. And also, please help your girl get to 500 by June 1st. I appreciate you guys coming through for this video. Your girl has goals, okay? Your girl has goals and we're trying to get there. So help a sister out. I appreciate y'all. I truly, truly do. And I will see you good people in the next video.